What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, Charlie Dink Hunter. Today we're going to be going over the Piscifun line winder, it's called. Pick this up on Amazon. It's about 50 bucks. Links in the description below if you guys want to check it out. Super helpful. It's wintertime here in upstate New York, so instead of fishing, I get ready for the fishing. And going to put new line on all my reels, so I figured now's a great opportunity to show everybody, is this product worth it? Should you buy it? And we'll go through how it works and all that stuff. So what I'm going to do is I got my bait casting reel here and I have a spin casting reel. We're going to do both of them so you guys can see how it works and we'll check it out. So let's get right into it. We're going to go through a couple of the pieces on here. Basically just a shaft, and then you have the same thing that you would have on any reel fishing pole. Just this loosens up and tightens up to keep the fishing reel in the right spot. This, I just got a Piscifun, same thing as this Torrent 7:1 gear ratio. If you guys want to see me do a review on that, just leave it in the comments below so I know you guys are interested. Then it just comes up to a shaft here, and then there's like this big hook here which obviously holds the line in place. Just got some mono here, 12 pound I'm going to throw on here for like jerk baits and stuff. Then there's this big swivel which we'll go into a little bit later, but there's this knob here. All this knob does is puts tension on these two things here, keeping that in place. Also, when you're doing that, you got the reel here, you want the line to come down from the bottom so it has more of a straight line right into that eye there. So you can put the fishing line through. If it comes up over top, it's going to come down weird and it's not going to get the right amount of pressure. It just doesn't work out as well. So this is your basic setup for putting the line on the reel. So if you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. I can do a little bit more in depth, but all we're doing is taking the line, coming down, putting it right through the reel. And I already put it through the eye, as you can see, just this line here, put it through the eye right there. And then I just have the line coming out. So I'm going to make sure that that line goes into that eye because that's what keeps it level each side so there's not tons of line on one side or the other. So just put that through there. And we can do one of two things from here. With a spool like this that has a bunch of holes in it, sometimes I'll just take the line and kind of put it through here and then start it nice and slow and then put a little bit more tension on it. But then you have a bunch of tag ends. So that's really not the best way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this line and we're just going to put it underneath the reel. Right? Get a bunch of line out. So it's underneath that spool. And we're just going to take this line, being careful not to push. You can see those plastic things in there. We don't want to push the line in between the plastic things because then obviously the line's not going to be on the reel. It'll cause a problem. You know what I'm saying? So we're just going to take this line here and then put it back through the spool. And I got these handy dandy pliers here. I'm just going to grab the line from the top in there. So we have that. So I have both lines on either side of the spool. So now you can see that this particular spool, I don't know, not all of the fishing reels have this, but there's actually a little indent inside of the middle right there. I don't know if you can see that, but check it out. Inside that, that's for exactly this. So you're going to try to get that in that spot, and when you tie that knot, it's going to be more flat than it would be like a big bump. So all I like to do is just take and tie an overhand knot. Trying to keep that knot right in that little spot there. And then I'm going to do that again. Trying to make it so that it's not a huge knot. Not a huge knot. So, there we go. Then I'll just take this line and tighten her up in the center there. See if I can't get it down right in that little spot there. Boom. Now this is the important part. You want to cut off this tag end. You want minimal amount of tag end as possible because as much tag end as there is, it is going to leave a bump there. Already that knot is there. It's going to leave a bump, so we don't want any more than we need here. So now you can do one of two things. You can put a little piece of tape on there just to cover it up. This way it's guaranteed to stay there. I don't like to do that. That's not me. So all I'm going to do now is put this over like this. I'm just going to kind of hold this, making sure that it starts nice and slow, and then you can see it's already starting to grab, right? Just kind of keeping pressure on that, because this, in the beginning, it starts to come off when there's no tension on it really. So sometimes if you need to, you can pull these apart and just get this set up the way that you want it to. So now that we got this all set up, the line has kind of started. You can almost see it right there. We got it all spooled up just like this. Next thing I'm going to do is get this in line here, put that like that. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to just really nail this drag down. This way it keeps as much tension on this spool as possible, because you want the tightest amount of line on there because bird nesting. All right, so now all you're going to do, pull on it, make sure the drag is set nice, and then you just reel. As you can see, it's going back and forth, holding nice tension on here. And I just keep reeling until we get almost just about full, and then I'll show you guys what happens. All right, especially on this reel, you can see there's a little bit of a red lip there, and then there's just a little bit of the reel. So what I'm going to do is make it so that it's nice and full. You can just see that that baitcaster looks full. You'll kind of get a feel for it. But what I like to do is I like to get it on this one. I'm going to put it right up almost to that red, because I know that I'm going to wind up taking some of this and then cutting it off. You can see how it's almost right up to that red. I'm going to wind up cutting this off here. I'm going to be putting it on the fishing pole, and I'm going to be taking some off of there. So I'll cut it off right now. Boom. So now we got that all lined up, ready to go onto the fishing pole. I'm just going to show you what the difference is and the similarities between doing this and the baitcaster. So now we got this on there. We just took the reel and put it on here just like any other bait spin casting reel, and we got the line here in the same situation. What I like to do is I just flip this bail open, and because when you use the fishing line a bunch, you wind up tying on a bunch of new lures and stuff like that, the knot on this spin casting becomes a lot more of an issue. If you have a larger knot and you can't tie the knot very well, it's going to wind up protruding, and when you cast your line, the line's going to wind up catching on that knot, and it's going to cause you a lot of issues. So what I like to do is take it, put it right through this bail here, and I take a little piece of tape, and then I wind up taping the line right to the reel. All right. So now when you start it, it has something to hold on to, but that tape is flat and is going to wind up not catching you up on anything. So now the only thing we got to do is the same thing. We're just going to hold the line tight so we can start just a little loose, because you don't want too much tension in the beginning because it's going to rip that tape off. But once you get a couple of lines on, it'll be all right. So we get that tight on the bail, and now you can see if I just try to reel this in, this is not really all that great. It works okay, but what's going to happen is this is just going to go here and put a lot of pressure on here. So if you take this little knob here and you open this up, it allows this to spin freely like that, and it's going to wind up spinning as you're spinning. So it's going to make a lot better for the reel. So you can see that it kind of just moves any way that it wants, and it winds up spinning. So it's going to get that line on there much, much easier. So when you go to cast, the line's going to come out straight rather than be all wrapped up. So this is a super, super awesome way to line your reels for both bait casting and spin casting. All right, so now that we're done, we can just screw this down so this stays like that. And again, all I'm going to do, cut the line, and we're done. So that's the Piscifun line winder. It's actually a great tool. Wintertime in upstate New York, I'm doing all my fishing line on all my reels, so it makes it so much easier, so much faster. We all know the fishing line is super expensive, and it's super annoying when you go out and your first cast and you get a bird's nest. Obviously, the tighter the line on the reel, the bird's nest isn't going to be that big of a problem anymore. It just doesn't happen as often. So this great tool for saving money and saving frustration. It's only 50 bucks. It's going to last you forever. It's really not that complicated. In the beginning of this channel, I did a video of me putting fishing line on a reel, and it was a nightmare because I didn't have this. You can watch that video here. It's a terrible video, and it was a terrible experience. This makes things so much easier. for putting line on your reels, all type of reels. I know I only showed monofilament today, but for fluoro and for braid, so much easier. So thanks for watching. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, comment, build the community. We're doing giveaways every month on the channel, so make sure you check those out. And see you guys next time.